Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Speak Well podcast on tonight. I also want to thank you all for being flexible. Usually we meet every Thursday. Well, any Thursday that I feel like we need to talk. But yesterday being the holiday, I wanted to shift. And I felt like we could meet this Friday. So I want to say thank you for being flexible with your schedule. We're gonna jump right in. It's Friday. You have, two married ladies here. So, again, it's a Friday. Who knows what we have planned? Who knows what spouses have planned? And so we're going to jump right in. We won't keep you all long. I want to give my guest on tonight her flowers. I have the Mrs. Hall, Melva Hall, that is. Many of you have been with me for a long time. Many of you have been with her a long time. Many of you have been with us for a long time. You all have had the opportunity to watch our families. You've been able to watch us grow. How so be it. God opened up a door where we can share this platform together. What's mine is hers. If she wanna, take over the show, she can do that. But without further ado, I introduce you to Melva. She is she's my sister. She's my friend. She's my wife too. How did all of this happen? Well, we share a son. My son Quentin is also her son. We will talk about how we got there. We will talk about, any hurdles that we had to overcome. We will talk about how we have allowed God to be in the midst of our families. And I would say this, I would speak very transparently by saying, has it been hard? No, it absolutely hasn't been. But that is because that we have, even at a young age, we allowed God to be in the middle and in the midst of our families. She's gonna, and you all know, I normally ask for a bio. I normally ask for, people's whole resume. I didn't need to do that because just with her being here, that speaks volumes about who she is. Also speak volumes about who I am and how we're able to share space without malice, without jealousy, without envy. What do we want to do on tonight? We want to teach other women it's possible. You can definitely get there. But the one component that has to be in the center of that, and that is God. So, Melva, go ahead, girl.
Thank you for having me. This is a subject that I've talked about uh, so many times, just because when we entered into this situation, we were like 22. So, on top of trying to figure out who we were also trying to figure out roles that were not familiar. And we didn't have many to look up to. So, it's been a subject that I've talked about recently in the last, 10 years, because now it's almost the norm. If you're getting married today, 9 times out of 10, you are a step parent or you're making your spouse a step parent. So I feel like blended families has become normal. So I'm excited about this conversation.
So when I posted, here's the thing. I was laying across the bed and I was trying to figure out what my next show was going to be. And I try to be intentional about including God in, and this isn't even me over spiritualizing anything. This isn't even me being deep. If I'm going to have a platform and I want to educate people, then God needs to help me with that. I need to know, what topics, what's the, and I don't even want to always talk about the trending topics, right? Because the trending topics, they're trending so much. You hear so many different opinions on them topics, but I felt like in this time it was perfect for us. So I was laying across the bed and I was like, what am I going to talk about next Thursday? No, I can't talk about anything next Thursday because it's the holiday. So I want to be intentional about people spending time with their families. Because for me, I came from a very large family, but so many dynamics about family have changed. And so I don't want to be an interruption as it relates to families. And I know, the holidays are important. And he said, talk about co-parenting. Bring Melvin on, talk. And it was quick. It wasn't a long drawn out demand from him. It wasn't when he said it, I heard it, I jumped on it, and I reached out to you immediately. And I knew that you would say yes. Because again, it takes an adult to have this kind of conversation, right? It takes a woman who is open-minded to have this conversation. When I posted the flyer about the conversation and about the dialogue, I got so many DMs from people saying, oh my God, I got to tune in. Oh my God, I am struggling. Oh my God, how are y'all able to do it? Oh my God. And see, I took no glory in none of that because I knew that that was God who prepared us for such a time as this.
Mm-hmm.
If I could say, and you know what? And let's just jump right into it. What I would say for women, some things just got to be in you, right? And that's confidence, that's self-esteem, that's assurance, that's knowing who you are. But if it's not in you, then there's something that got to be removed from you. That's envy, that's jealousy, that's competition, that's coveting something that somebody else have. Because this is what I'm a living witness of. Your opportunity will come. Your time will come. You and Quentin got married before I did. I didn't sit around and guess what? First, let me ask this. How long have you all been married? Quentin is 27, 28. He's 27. How many years have you all been married?
21.
So you all have been married 21 years. So if you all can do the math, you know that she's been a part of Quentin's life longer than those 21 years, right? You heard her say before, we were both, we were young, we were in our 20s. Did we have the same mindset that we have now? Absolutely not. The Bible says when I was a child, I spoke as a child. When I became an adult, I put away childish things. Absolutely not. Did we have this level of maturity? Absolutely not. Did we even have the people around us to feed us good information? Absolutely not. Right? But it took something deeper for us to hold on to. What I knew is this. I knew that I was raising a boy child, and I knew that I wanted him to be great. I also knew that I trusted his father's decision in who he chose to marry, right? Let me pause and say this. What Melba didn't have to worry about, and this is probably her first time hearing this from me, because it happens a lot. What you all have to stop doing, y'all have to stop dipping and dabbing. Yeah, I read a couple scriptures, but we're going to have an adult conversation. Y'all have to stop dipping and dabbing. When it's over with, it's over with. You all go back so many times. That's why your feelings can't detach. You go back and forth. You go back and forth. He's now with somebody else. You still want to go back and forth. Y'all have to stop dipping and dabbing. Now, Melva is going to nurture you. Melva's going to mother you. Y'all know I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you some grace. I'm going to give you some too. But if I cut you up, I'm going to give you a Band-Aid. Y'all have to stop. This is why you confused. You can't make a decision because you're confused. And you've moved. So you say you've moved on. He's supposed to be moving on. But behind closed doors, there's no moving on.
Right.
If y'all still tampering with each other, that is your first problem. And I'm not saying this for every woman. Hopefully I can come down your street. I'm not saying this for every woman. But for me, y'all know I'm very transparent with my own story. My son was about 2 years old, maybe 3. I decided that the relationship, wasn't working for whatever reason. Maybe I wanted to hang out. Maybe I wanted to hang in the street, hang in a club. I don't know. But I decided that the relationship wasn't working. When I made that decision, whether Quentin was with somebody or not, with Melva or not, I knew that I was finished. I never went back and dipped and dabbed. The only thing I went back for was to make sure my son had a present father. Again, it takes a God-type complex to be that young in the community in which we live to be able to say, oh no, I'm finished. I'm not doing that. And let me tell you this, I've always been the kind of young lady and the kind of woman to say, oh, I'm not going to be the reason that a child is sad. I'm also not going to be the reason that a woman cries at night. I'm also not going to be the reason that a woman I'm not going to be the reason that a woman is hurt. So even in my 20s, I knew then, no, I'm not going to play them games, because one thing about a Sagittarius, when they say they finished, I'm telling you, they are just really finished, right? But that's a piece of me that I can pat on the back and say, mm-mm. She didn't have to worry about me going back and forth. If he was dropping his son off, he was dropping his son off. If he had to have a conversation with his son, I didn't have to be involved. That's another thing. Y'all want to be involved in every little step and every little process to be able to say, oh, I seen him. You pressed to be in the same room. But see, here we go. I'm trying to help you. We gonna help you get out of this. When it's done, it's done. You two are now co-parenting, right? So in co-parenting, that means you're sharing a child or children. Mm-hmm. And in that co-parenting, you're the mother, you're the father, whatever that parent do outside of that, that don't have nothing to do with you. What I trusted in Quentin, Big Quentin, is that I knew he made the right decision in his choice. He made the right decision in his wife. And I knew he loved his son enough not to have his son around somebody that was going to hurt him. Here we are today. Quentin's grown. Melva got 2 other boys that are Quentin's brothers. And guess what? We're all family. Of course, Quentin calls her mom. Those boys call me mom. When my mother still lives where she live at, those boys were in school and were walking up and down the street, stopping at my mother's house. Mm-hmm. Grandma, did you cook? That wasn't something, let me tell you again, that wasn't something that we coerced them to do.
Right.
Something that they saw.
Mm-hmm.
Quentin, Marcus, they saw our parents get along. We're all family. Everything is fine. Mel didn't say to them, don't y'all call it, that's not our mother. I never said to Quentin, don't call her mother, that's not your mother. And if I said it out of immaturity. And I said it out of me being upset that I wasn't in a place mentally that I should have been in. But to be honest, I can't even remember saying it. But out of immaturity, we say a lot of things. So those boys knew that it was safe. Let me go even deeper. I have a daughter. Zuri's my daughter. Zuri is 12 years old. Zuri met them, and she to this day, she still says, I'm going over Quentin's house. I'm going over Quentin's mother and father's house. Nobody never stopped that because kids are innocent. Kids can feel that, right? Melvin and Quentin don't have a girl. They don't have a daughter, right? They have nieces, they have nephews, they have sons. But that is something that our children were. Zuri never heard me say, don't talk to them people. What are you showing your children? Right. So Melva, I want you to kind of speak to that, or you can go as far back as you want to, and speak to some of the things I've already mentioned. Dipping and dabbing get y'all caught up a lot.
Yeah.
When you're done, you got to say that you're done, and you have to know that you're done.
Mm-hmm. First, I was saying it's crazy because this morning I just looked up. I was like, let me just look to see if blended families is something mentioned biblically. Because I'm like, there's nothing new under the sun. But I didn't find a scripture that talked directly to blended families. But what I understood was exactly what you just said when it comes to children being children. Just to go back, also when I was researching this morning about blended families, it said 70% of divorces is due to blended families. And I'm not surprised because, again, I used to be a part of a group called Wife Up, and that was one of the major topics. Blended families. And to be honest, mainly women. It was mainly the women, the wives. Men are typically, unless they smell something fishy, they'll go with the flow.
Mhm.
Especially when they're married, they'll go with the flow. But I wasn't surprised at those numbers because, like I said, I've had the conversations in the past. And to piggyback on our story, when our kids were young, I remember the first time I felt like, and I knew, but again, we were very young, that I could trust the process. It was Quentin's first Christmas, well, would have been first Christmas that he didn't stay the night with Lil Quentin. And he came to me probably 3 days before Christmas. And he said, I want to ask you something. I hope you don't get mad and I hope that you trust. And I was like, okay, like what? And he said, I've already talked to your kid. I want to stay Christmas Eve at her house with Lil Quentin. I said, then what now? Then what? And he said, I want to stay. And it just hit me like, parenting, step parenting, blended families, it's a real trust. You have to have trust. You have to, and I'm not saying that works for every family in every situation. But at that moment when he said it, and again, we're talking 21, 22 years old, I was like, but why do you have to do that? He said, I don't have to. It's hard not doing that. And I was like, okay, so what does that mean for me? And I was confused, but I trusted him. And Christmas happened, and and the next day, and he had to tell me it's both of us want to do Christmas with our son. And I had to understand that even though my situation didn't look that way, that was the situation. And it was like after that moment, I said, okay, I might can do this. And we had been talking about marriage. We weren't married yet, but we had been talking about it. And I remember talking to a lady, older lady at our church who had a blended family, but it was very different because the other parent wasn't present. So she told me, I don't understand. His mom is not here at all. So it was different. And but I do remember her saying, I can't say that you'll have many of those moments, but I promise you it won't be easy. And I have to say, again, I agree with you. We haven't had a crazy rocky story, but because we were young, we had moments where I think the biggest battle in blended families, especially when it comes to the women, is fighting for our position. I feel like you wanted to fight for your position as little Quentin's mother, and I wanted to fight for my position as Quentin's wife. But I think the older we got and the more we talked about it, the more we cried about it, the more we, fussed, we always came back to the common goal. It's Lil Quentin. At the end of the day, our goal is that he never feels that we didn't care about him. And I think that I ask when I'm talking to different wives or women who desire to be married, that's my question. What is your goal? What's important? What do you want? Because when I think about 70% of those marriages ending in divorce, I can't help but to think it has to be unrealistic expectations or unrealistic goals. Because what's the problem? And I'm not saying that it's peaches and cream that's a walk in the park, but I feel like as you grow, like with anything, when you first get married, without kids, there is that process. You have to understand that you're talking about two different people.
Mhm.
And when you get married, before I came into the picture, it was you and Quentin making decisions about Lil Quentin. When I came, it was still you and Quentin making decisions about him. It was just me on the other end influencing Quentin either way, good or bad. I mean, just in general, it could have been good or bad. But you weren't just talking to him anymore. Now you were talking to us again, although it could have been just you and him on the phone or you and him at the
Mhm.
time, it still was a conversation that Quentin had a whole nother opinion to consider, a whole nother person to consider. So um, I would definitely say that it requires a maturity that we had to grow into.
Mhm.
But because we had people like your mother, my dad, who were big on family, and my father had to keep reminding me, little Quentin is the goal. If your intentions aren't that he feels safe, he feel loved, then you don't belong there. And and honestly, as an adult and as a woman who, as women, we want what we want. We want the man. We don't want the responsibility that comes with him. We want him. That's unfair and that's not real. So I had to understand. And again, having a man in my life that loves me dearly, I could trust what he was saying to me.
Mhm.
And that was, what do you want? What
Mhm.
do you want this to look like? You can make the decision today. 20 years ago, you can make the decision today to be the best stepmom you could ever be, or you should walk away. Because
Mhm.
the last thing you want is for him to grow up and feel like you were the stepmom from hell, or you create a wedge between him and his father.
Mhm.
You walking around here talking about you're the wife and you're first. We're not gonna do that. That's a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there is a place where the wife may come first, but that wasn't it.
Mhm.
And I had to understand that, and I don't regret it like at all.
Yeah.
I believe that today, like you said, we have this family dynamic that we have because we both chose to be
Mhm.
mature and understand that even in the moments when the three of us would be on the phone screaming and hollering like, well, he want to go and we want to go and why can't he? Because he can't, and we said and not said and you. I mean, it was crazy,
Mhm.
but we
Mhm.
understood. At the end of the day, we will hang with those phones and begin texting and be like, okay, well, you're right. Okay, well, and I thank God that we did,
Mhm.
because I see it today with a lot of people, and it's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good.
The one thing that you said that makes so much sense is Quentin was the common goal. Those children should always be the common goal because then you
Mm-hmm.
enter into a level of selfishness, right? It's like you said, you could have pulled the trump card. I am the wife and I am making decision and it's me, 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 me. But
Mm-hmm.
again, when you set self aside, that is maturity. That is
Yeah.
maturity to say, we listen, we're talking about co-parenting and we're talking about the child that we have in common, which is Quentin. But I am also a stepmother. When they
Mm-hmm.
ask me how many children I have, I do not say two.
Mm-hmm.
I say five, right? Because I chose to say yes to my husband. You chose to say yes to Quentin. That
Mm-hmm.
yes changes a lot.
Yeah.
With that yes comes a lot. With that yes, blessings come with that yes. With that yes, headaches come with that yes. With that yes, sleepless nights come with that yes. With that yes, opportunities and doors open.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not until you say yes until you find out where you are and what that yes have done for you. Let me tell you something. Here's the thing. Whole wives, and I mean WHOLE, whole and healed wives make whole and healed husbands.
Mm-hmm.
We're all walking around talking about happy wife, happy life. Yeah, yeah, that's fact. But what about your husband?
Mm-hmm.
Because little Quentin was Quentin's first child, not only first child, he was his first son.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to strip him of that, neither did you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just play devil's advocate. Imagine where both of our lives would be if Quentin was in the imagine where little Quentin would be
Mm-hmm.
if we were in our 40s and still at odds, or if you were in your 20s and saying, oh no, 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 Christmas ain't about to look like that. You imagine where he would be. We wouldn't be talking about college. We wouldn't be talking about IT. We wouldn't be talking about school. We wouldn't be talking about money. We wouldn't be talking about how well we wouldn't be talking about that. We'll be talking about, well, are you going to send money over to the jail this week?
Right.
Are you going to visit him this week? Are you going to put flowers on a grave this week? Those are the real conversations. And so when you start talking about being in a child's life, when you start talking about being in a man's life, you have to know what comes with that. I am so glad that I'm able to see how God works. So you have those sleepless nights, right? You have like those, there's some friction in the beginning. You talking about 20 plus years ago. There's some friction, there's some misunderstanding, there's some back and forth, some hooping and hollering. Me and Big Quentin might have argued more than all three of us, because it's like, I know what I want, you know what you want. The blessing for me was when Quentin called and said, kid, I want my son to come and live with me. And a lot of the stuff people just don't know. I may have given him like some pushback, not because I didn't trust he can be a father. Pushback not because I didn't like you, pushback because that was my only baby.
Right.
And it's like, okay, giving him up, that leaves me in a space of loneliness, or that puts me in the space of I want to be a part of some of these things. But I realized that even when I did it, I didn't miss it. I didn't miss anything. I was still included. I was still involved. Now there was a season in life where I hit a patch. And I think many of us have been there, where you kind of going through, when you're struggling and life is doing whatever it's doing and you trying to find your way out. But imagine me going through that and him not having you all in his life to catch him when I fail. So women got to stop getting so caught up on me. It's about me. Let me tell you something. If you know that that's your man, you can have sex with him when you want. Y'all can go shopping when y'all want. You can get on a trip when you want. But let that man spend time with that child. And you need to find out where you fit in, because love is in you. Either you have it or you don't, right? It's like you said, you were you had your father to talk to, you had your father to mentor you, you had your father to say, hey, check this out. It should look like this. It should look like that. What you gonna do? I didn't have that. What I had was other advisors from other places saying, well, that's actually a good idea that his dad wants him. So I never walked around saying I'm a single mother. I've never been a single mother. Before I got married, I was never a single mother. I don't even like the word single mother. And this is no shade to anybody that uses that term. I don't like it, because now I would say I was the primary parent sometimes, but I was never the primary parent with Quentin. I was the primary parent with Zuri, but at one time. But with Quentin, I was never a single mother. So sometimes we got to be careful with the labels that we even put on ourselves, because what you had, you don't have what you say. I was never a single parent. I had help. Here's the thing though. I didn't just have my side of the family. I had my side of the family, but Quentin also was able to look up to not just James, my father. He also was able to look up to Melva's father. So here's the thing. Imagine if I was so immature, my son would have missed all of that knowledge, all of those opportunities. He probably can build a house. He probably wouldn't be able to do none of the stuff that he can do that he learned from his father or from his grandfather. If I was selfish in my no, she don't need to be around my son. What was she gonna do? What these women, if these women and men don't have don't have a history of whooping children, abusing children, what's the problem?
Right.
But the problem is, it's you. It's you being afraid. And I get it. You're afraid to turn your child over. You're afraid for your child to be raised in a different household. You might be teaching your child how to be vegan, but baby, this household over here, they're eating hamburgers and everything. You got to go with the flow. Let your child decide. Because I think that once Quentin was over there, Melvin might be over there eating quinoa. But over here, this But again, you got to be okay with that.
Right.
Things settle. Everything will settle into what it's supposed to be. It don't have to take 20 years. It didn't take 20 years for us. Again,
Right.
I remember us having bad moments or bad patches, and I might be venting and she might, but other than that, it's like you wake up one day and say, okay, maybe all of that bickering was worth it, but we wasn't fighting. It wasn't a thing where she couldn't pull up and I couldn't pull up, and it was it wasn't that.
Right.
Even when people tried to throw stuff in the game to make it that, it was never that. We always had to come back to the common denominator, and her job was to come back to not just the common denominator, but let me check on my husband's emotions and feelings and mental state. Because even Quentin knows if these two women are getting along, then I'm okay. And I can be okay in raising my boy. And now I'm okay in raising my boy. And now I got two other boys. It all worked out.
Yeah.
So, I just want to encourage women to build up your self-esteem, build up your confidence. Because again, just like Melba said when she opened up, statistics show you most likely might marry somebody that have children. Just maybe. And you can't walk in the door with all of those demands.
No.
On somebody's child.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. My husband's children know the children that we have together, where he is the biological father, those children they have and they will to this day contact me for anything. They will have conversations with me that they ain't gonna have with him. Because guess what? They ain't gonna get the same response. They might not want to hear his mouth. They're not, but guess what? I created my own camaraderie with those children.
Yeah.
Before we moved into a house together, before we said I do together. When my husband was away, those kids was calling me. And I didn't look at the phone and scan the phone and whether me and the mothers got along or not, it didn't matter. I was building my relationship with children. And also I'm gonna say to you all, if you know that you have a heart and your heart is filled with love and you want to be a great stepmom and you want to be a great stepdad and you want to co-parent the right way, sometimes you just got to just wait it out because the other party may not be mature.
Yep.
Be okay with the other party not being mature, but what you do, always act in respect. When you send your text messages, make sure they don't have nothing to blast you about and say, see, look, she was disrespectful. See, look. No, make sure you're always presenting as the bigger person all the time, no matter what's going on. Because listen, where we are now, those kids are grown. Quentin he could choose to hate me. He could have chose to hate Melva. He could have chose to hate his father, like Tariq on Power by saying Angie. He could have chose. He stuff every day on TV. But when you are showing these children that you are whole, you are healed, you are happy, because I'm gonna tell you something, misery spills over.
Yeah.
And you hooping and hollering in the house and you screaming and the father done got put out or the wife done got, them kids see that. And you turn them into being just like you. When I see Quentin or talk to Quentin or text Quentin, there's a sprinkle of everybody in him because guess what? So all of that. He's able to say to me, I think y'all had got a dog, and he like, Mom got a dog over there. And so it's all when y'all got the house. Here's the thing, and let me stop and pause. Melva and Quentin have made so many impeccable strides from buying one house to buying the second house, buying car, buying this, buying that. And guess what I was doing? Not just on the sideline, but in front of my son's face. I was celebrating that. See, that's the other thing. Y'all don't want nobody else to get nothing. You want this man or this woman to live with the other, to live with the parent or the other parent miserably. That speaks to your heart.
Right.
That speaks to your heart. Because here's the thing. What made Quentin excited is the things he wanted to excite me. So if he was talking to me by saying, Mom, we just got this. Look what my father built. Look at this wall. And they did this. And I said, he really good. He does it with me and my husband. My father not. We're not sitting there saying, Quentin, please, we don't want it. We never did that to him.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
never did that to him. So
Mhm.
anytime that house received a blessing, he would share it with me.
Mhm.
And now my son celebrates everything other people do.
Yeah.
Listen, when Marquette graduated, no, back up. When Marcus went into the
The
service,
army.
or
Mhm.
we celebrated that. Me,
Mhm.
my mother, my father, rest in peace. We celebrated that.
Yeah.
When my Quentin went to school, we celebrated that. When
Mhm.
Quentin sitting over here with us, he's saying, "Oh, I gotta go get my little brother. Oh, I gotta call him Uber." I said, "Quentin, he got two fathers, you and Quentin." That's what the boy saw. He
Right.
saw support. He saw his father give.
Yeah.
He saw how his father took care of his brother. He saw how
Mhm.
Velvet took care of her son. He saw that. So
Yeah.
what you are displaying to your child, trust and believe it's gonna come back out. And what it
Mhm.
looks like when they get grown is on you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What it looks like when they get grown is on you. And I'll talk to the women and the men to say, if you're in that space and you know that you're trying to do the right thing, just wait it out.
Yeah.
Just wait it out. Things will
Mhm.
settle. Talk to God. Always be the bigger person. Don't, because we too old to fight. Now,
Mhm.
some of us might still go, well, I know I do. Some of us people, we know how to do, but if it
Mhm.
ain't no need, it ain't no need. Because guess what?
Right.
Your child gonna see that in the future.
Right.
So, you may want a child to come and stay with you. Your spouse may say, well, that's not a good idea. Hear
Mhm.
their reasoning out. The good she or he might say, well, it's not a good idea, um, their parent needs them right now.
Mhm.
That primary mom or dad may need them. Or it may be a situation you say, listen, they're struggling with drugs or alcohol or they're in between jobs. Let's just get them to take some of the pressure off of them.
Right.
That's where you show you care. So
Mhm.
what I want is for you all to put some questions in the chat. If you want to send them private, you can text them to me or text them to Melva, and we can answer some of them. There are a few people watching here on YouTube and on Facebook, so I'm just really appreciative that you all decided to join us tonight because this conversation had to be had. So
Right.
I'm gonna do a
Right.
recap before we move forward. Y'all gotta stop dipping and dabbing. Stop dipping and dabbing. Once you walk away, you gonna be away. Once you done, you done. Because again, once 7-Eleven is closed, it's closed. That you shouldn't be offering anything. If you need something for the child, ask for that. We're not
Mhm.
selling any sex to get what the child needs. We're not doing that because you got to set a standard. And the standard is
Right.
no, that's not what we're doing. Because you're opening up other doors, right? You're opening up other doors.
Mhm.
And this is the same door you just said you want to close. Love somebody enough to let them be with who they need to be with. If
Right.
Big Quentin wasn't with Melva, Big Quentin may not be successful. If David wasn't with you, kid, David wouldn't be successful. It's God puts matches together. God does the choosing. God puts, whether you all understand it or not, in some stuff
Mhm.
you to understand, and you got to get out of God's way and out of God's
Right.
business. If God put two people, clearly God had to do it because it's still happening. And we're not talking about we don't go through struggles, but what we're saying is we got a bigger goal, and now we
Mhm.
got kids involved, and we don't got no grandkids. Well, I do. Melvin don't have no grandkids yet. I guess we waiting. I don't know, but so many people are involved.
Yeah.
So when you make decisions, you have to make those decisions with God being in the forefront, not in the back.
Right.
You
Right.
take if Melvin get up tomorrow and say, I'm out of here, I'm leaving. That's everybody. That's me. That's Zuri. That's all it affects everybody.
You're
Being
right.
insecure affects everybody.
Mhm. Mhm.
Being out of the will of God affects everybody. Now, everybody
Mhm.
got to suffer, and we got to watch Quentin walk around stomping, and it's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much. So you have and get around people. Some of you all got to change your circle. These girls you're around, these men you're around are advising you straight to hell. They advising you wrong. They telling you wrong. They causing you to hate somebody that actually you supposed to be connected to. They telling you to disconnect from somebody you should be connected to. They telling you to hate on somebody. Here's the thing. Every time I've seen them achieve something or obtain something, that didn't I wasn't jealous. That showed me that I was in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Melva have talked on occasions with we do have a group text that we rarely use, but all of us are on it.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Lil Quentin, there have been times whether he was posting about a job, which I think about this, and we've had to sit and let him make some decisions that we just was like, oh, we told you. He
Right.
made the decision and had to come back and say, no, not. But we've had to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you something about the kids. And this is where the kids need to be tuned in. Some of the children are at a were or could be at an age where they do that, because we had this issue with Quint where they play both sides.
Mm-hmm.
Know your child. Know your child enough to say, because I would have to pick up the phone and call Big Quentin and say, Quentin, now let me tell you something. Now I know we ain't seen eye to eye, but boy playing this game, and then we finally figured he doesn't do it now. But again,
Mm-hmm.
just like we had to grow out of that, so
Right.
did he. We had to
Right.
grow. Maturity had to take place. So know
Mm-hmm.
your child. Quentin couldn't come in. He would do it, and you got to be discerning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you giving him a look like, if you don't get away from me with this, I already know you done told the same story to you, and now you trying to make us be at odds. It's not gonna work.
Right.
Once they realize that you won't play with them, they
Mm-hmm.
just say, I can't pull these tricks no more. It doesn't even work. So know your child, know your spouse, know what
Mm-hmm.
works for your child and for your spouse. Some of your spouses are walking around unhappy because the child can't even come and visit. But I'm gonna hold that for the. Go ahead, Mel.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking about when you first touched on it a little bit, a conversation that I had where a fiance felt like I thought about when Lil Quentin's senior prom, and he left from the house, and you were there to assist him in any way. And for a lot of people, I was honestly confused about the people that were confused.
Yes.
How? We're
Yes.
15 years in.
Yes.
How are you confused?
Yes.
But they are renting a hotel because she doesn't want the girl's mother in her house. Immediately, I said, okay, well, it's no more to talk about, because I had a father who, if I coughed, sneezed, was right there. I have a father who today, if I pick up that phone and my voice is too shaky, he's on the way. I can't understand telling Quentin times that you will call and say, Quentin, Lord Quentin, you need to come talk to him. To feel like, why you need to go talk to him? I don't understand that. Mm-hmm. Allow that man to be the father that you would have wanted. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Allow that man to be the father that you want for your children. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand that part. I don't understand how you're with a man, but yet his kids aren't allowed. I don't get that. I don't get that. But it happens a lot.
And this is the thing. We're not talking about, because there are some grown kids that are disrespectful. We ain't talking about that. Mm-hmm. We're talking about these babies who between 1 and 10 years old, and you're just so bitter that you're saying, oh no, we're gonna do this over here, we're gonna do all this separate. We ain't had that kind of time, money, or space to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. I knew where I was financially, and then Quentin's father and stepmother and other mother and second mother and my wife got a house up the street. When he go to prom, that's where we're all going to pile up, and that is where he's going to his send-off. Even and what you're doing, and I'm thankful for, because I always tell people a lot of times, due to my trauma, a lot of stuff I don't remember. Mm-hmm. You're reminding me of a lot of stuff. And honestly, and I'll say this to everybody, I don't even remember. The things that I remember are the things that hurt. The things that I remember, things that went over really well, sometimes I might forget. I don't even remember the conversation about Christmas.
Really?
I don't remember the conversation about Christmas, and I need for God to give me a little more of that because I want to write about that. I don't remember the conversation about Christmas. So many things, but I do remember the whole prom send-off because there were some people that were present that I wish to this day that wasn't present. So that's how I remember that, right? So it's like the things that I don't remember the things that bothered me. But I remember that day like it was yesterday because me and Quentin always say, I'm like, Quentin, yeah, your father, he dressed really nice, but you got that from me. You got that dancing and stuff, you got that from your father. But I knew, and Quentin knew, I said, I'm gonna help you pick out the suit. I'm gonna do this. We all knew what our strengths were, right? And so you all allowed that, you all opened up the doors. It wasn't, oh, they gotta sit outside or they gotta go all the way in the basement. It was not that at all. It was to the point where I walked in and said, oh my God, it is so nice in here. That is something that God was able to establish between us. I'm telling you, what we have, and let me just tell y'all, me and Melva, we don't hang out at the mall. We ain't at the we're wives. We live in two different spaces, right? But this is what I know to be true. If I call Melva and say, Melva, I need some help with Zuri, I'm gonna get help with Zuri. First of all, let me not even say that. I can call her and ask for any kind of help. And vice versa. We have a separate text thread where we have had to have conversations about private things. So, and I never heard it repeated. She never heard it repeated. But here's the thing. Once you realize that the goal is bigger, the goal is you need a tribe. You need a sisterhood. Because I'm going to tell you something, because that's what Quentin going to grow up. He will have his own family. I might move. We don't know what he always talk about. They always say they moving out the country. I said, Quentin, well, all y'all grown. Whatever it is that they want to do, they can do. They deserve that. So whatever part of the country we end up on, we've talked about work. We've talked about the frustrations at work. We've talked about all kind of things because she's provided a safe space for me, and I provided a safe space for her. Again, we're not talking about we've always been here. We just realized that the bigger goal was these kids, and it wasn't just Quentin. Now it's Zuri, it's Marcus, it's Marquette. Them boys was walking up the street hungry every day. And James, rest in peace, he would say, Marquette down here, and we made it. And Priscilla got up out the bed, and she made them some food and some breakfasts. One of them wanted pancakes. All of this was happening. Melvin, they didn't need to call and say, I'm at grandma's house. They knew that if them boys was walking down the street, they made a stop. They knew where they made a stop at. But what if you were so bitter and angry and like, oh, I want you all to listen to this conversation. Here's the thing. Normally, before I have a guest, me and the guest speak first. We did not. I didn't have any questions prepared. We didn't prep. It was nothing because this is our everyday life.
Right.
And when something becomes your everyday life, first of all, when you are anointed for something, you make it look easy. So a lot of you all look at the posts and, our relationship wasn't even established through social media. This way before social media. We just started following each other, not because we was beefing. We just started. So here's the thing. It was all God. So whatever you see, it's all God. It wasn't manipulated by social media. It wasn't manipulated by people, places, things. This is how God would see it. I can lay down at night and rest knowing that my son can raise a family because he watched his father raise a family. I don't got to worry about no girl calling me saying Quentin beat her and Quentin dragged her and Quentin did this, that, and the other. He comes over here and talk to us a lot of times about his desires, what it takes to be a man. He've even said to us a lot of times, you know what? I know you can help me, but I got to do this on my own. When he wanted to move out, I was saying, Quentin, well, are you sure? Your father, they got several rooms down there. Are you sure that you want to move out?
Right.
Mom, I do this on my own. But that comes from him seeing his mother and his father doing it on their own. He didn't come. Melva is blessed to come from a father that loves her, right? She's blessed. Me and Big Quentin didn't quote unquote have all of that. There were people, right, that we looked up to, but we didn't necessarily have that. So she's component and she was the missing piece to the puzzle. Quentin is able to maneuver through life because he saw healthy parents.
Yeah.
And you know, he's helping. I'm watching him help with his sister. I'm watching him help with his brother. He treats Marquette like Marquette is 10 years old. That's
right.
But he saw that.
Yeah.
So what kind of, ask yourself, ladies, what kind of child do you want?
Yeah.
How do you want to see your child become an adult? You
Mhm.
want them to be agitated and frustrated and mean to people and selfish and stingy and lazy, because that's one thing his dad wasn't. He was never lazy. He kept a job. But Quentin will always have a job because he saw his father always having a job.
Mhm.
But I want you all to challenge yourselves to open up to that woman. Open up to that man. And again, I am not saying put your child in harm's way. We're talking about if you know them people ain't right, you know they don't have good sense.
Mhm.
No. I'm saying no. But you have tested, you have someone in your child's life who have been tested, who have been approved. But you also got to ask yourself, why don't I like this person? Is it me? Or is it something really wrong with them? Because sometimes it be you.
Mhm.
Ain't nothing wrong with them people. It's you. It's you wanting what you want. It's you being selfish. It's you wanting that man or that woman. Get out your own way. In fact, get out your child's way.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think that women, we don't know what the next 4 years is going to look like. So we really got to band together,
Mhm.
connect together. You know, there were times that I couldn't do something when Melva had to jump in and do it. There were times that I felt like, you know, I couldn't have a conversation with Quentin, but Melva could have the conversation with Quentin. This is a time for you to challenge yourself. We're talking about therapy. We're talking about therapists. I just had an episode where we were talking about making therapy fly again. It's okay to talk to somebody.
Mhm.
Sometimes you don't always get what you want from your girl tribe, from your guy tribe. They may not always have it. Speaking to somebody that knows nothing about you a lot of times can be very helpful. I talked about trauma. The trauma that I have experienced, who I am right now, it's only because of God's grace.
Mhm.
The trauma that I have experienced, I should be angry. I should be bitter. I should be a maniac. I should be a shipwreck ready to happen. But because of God's grace and because of the prayers that are on me and over me and the people who cover me, that is why I am here today and I'm able to speak so freely about a topic that is dear to my heart. I didn't even know this was ever going to be a thing, but I
Mhm.
knew that it was time for it to be a thing. This is not a taboo. This is a conversation that we really got to have. I would
Yeah.
have loved to have men on because, like you said, when you don't, sometimes men are just like, they kind of like go with the flow. But them women,
Mhm.
they want to fight, they want to argue, I don't know. Talking about envy and jealousy. Envy and jealousy is worse than the grave. That's
Yeah.
a whole nother conversation.
Mhm.
I don't know what this thing is with some women that they're so jealous of something that somebody else have. Quentin was not my husband. That was Melva's husband. Quentin and I created a gift, a person, but he was not mine forever.
Mhm.
Connected to him through my son.
Mhm.
I've never opened up Facebook for doing something. I've never looked and said, I'm so tired of saying this. I've never looked and said that. I've never looked at Melva's page and seen her in in the, because she's talking about she in the garage and she what you call last night?
Garage living.
Yeah. She garage living. I ain't never looked at her post and said, girl, you ain't doing, and people don't be bragging. You just be hating. People
Right.
don't be I told y'all she's gonna be really sweet tonight. People don't be bragging on their stuff. You just a hater. People are not showing off. You're hating.
Right.
Instead of just saying, oh my God, I could have said, do you got some bug spray? Because I'm gonna come out there and say, she would have said, come on.
It's 9 o'clock. It's time
Mind
for
your
us to get off. It's 9 o'clock. It's time for y'all to get off.
No, it's not. It's Friday. People
How
are
many
not.
people on here?
Bye,
you kid. Bye, you kid.
On Facebook. People are not jealous of you.
Right.
People are not hating of. They showing off. Here she go again. You gotta check yourself. You really have to check, and that's where you gotta start. You gotta start with you. You gotta do self inventory with yourself. Hey, what is it about me that I can't get along with her? What is it about me I can get along with him? Because a lot of times if that person haven't wronged you, why can't you get along with them? What?
Right.
I'm not talking about forgiving somebody that keeps doing something to you over and over again. I'm talking about somebody that you all have a common thing. What's the problem? And it's and I don't know, and it's just something about, now you deep. Now it's just something about them, but you can't figure out what it is. No, it's something about you. You're the problem. Right. And if you're being honest, you've been the problem everywhere you have gone.
Right.
Right. So check yourself. Do self-inventory. Check your heart. Check your heart rate. What's up with you? Why can't you want to be happy? You want to be able to have a household, full of children. But and another thing, when them kids do come around, you walking around looking crazy and acting crazy and talking crazy. And you made one meal, and that's for the child that you gave birth to. The other kids got to figure it out, because some of y'all mean. I'm telling you. Listen, you don't have to say amen, say ouch. Right. You'll DM me later and say that was so helpful, but some of y'all are mean. Some of you, them children don't want to come to your house because you have been mean to them. And they go home and say to their mom, because children can feel. They go home and say to their mother or their father, Daddy, I don't want to go back. She took us to the mall and I didn't get nothing. Now that is insane. I don't play with children like that.
Right.
I'm taking care of kids that's not mine. Still to this day. What is it about you that a child don't feel? What is it about you that a child don't feel comfortable being around?
Right.
That's a question on the floor. Pick up what I'm putting down. We really gotta check ourselves to be able to say, you know what, maybe it is me. And that's the first step. You know what, maybe it is me. I created this, or why I did this, right? We gotta work on that. This was so helpful. I know, one thing I know, Melva, she studies. She loves God. She loves God's word. She loves God's people. That is important too. Who you rocking with? What lifestyle these people involved in? Because all of that matters. All of that shapes who your child becomes.
Yes.
Ask yourself, what's happening here? Melva, I know we covered a lot of ground tonight. I feel like that this is a topic that can be built. It's a dialogue not just for women but for men. I would like to teach people how to be comfortable with co-parenting and step parenting because it's okay. It takes nothing away from you to allow your child to spend time with those people. It takes
Right.
nothing away from you. It takes nothing away from who you are as a woman, as a man. It doesn't take from your masculinity,
Right.
femininity, who you are, your social status, your financial state. It takes nothing away from you being able to say, I'm going to love this child the way you love them. I'm going to love
Mhm.
this child the way I love my own kids.
Right.
It takes nothing away from you. These you got grown kids. I'm not saying the grown kids that's cussing you out. No, you ain't coming back.
Right.
You 21 and you 25, you ain't coming back.
Right.
And I ain't gonna have to tell you ain't gonna come back because the spouse, your biological mother or father gonna tell you, no, you ain't coming back here, baby. Because what I don't want is no smoke with my husband or my wife. So you
Right.
gonna stay home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How some things trump other things. It ain't no,
Right.
well, I'm your daughter, I'm your son. No, ma'am. No, sir. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Mhm.
You ain't gonna come into my house and be a problem and cause a problem. Because before I have a problem with my husband or my wife, you going back to your mother.
Right.
You going back to your father. Set the tone in your household for how you want your household to be.
Mm-hmm.
Teach your children how to respect other people, no matter who they are. Quinn can be in a house with 5 bedrooms. Quinn can be in a house with 1 bedroom. Quinn can ride in a Rolls Royce. He can ride in a Camry
Mm-hmm.
because he's diverse that way. Same with me. There is no set way to parent. Look, parenting is case by case, but you got to know that, make sure you're doing what works for your household. You have to make sure that it's safe. You have to make sure that it works for everybody. And as wives, we carry a lot. We got to check everybody's emotions. We got to be in charge of ours, the husbands, the kids. Both of us was chasing down dogs, trying to get them quiet. We gotta be in charge of the dog. Did you eat? I'm trying to go live. Don't be outside the door crying. Don't make no. We have to do all of that. I'm not saying we don't have help from our husbands, but you all know. Anybody who's a wife know. Oh, it's coming back to you. You gonna have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just who we are. Go do your homework on Proverbs 31 woman. She did all of those things.
Yeah.
Her maidens didn't cook for her. She cooked for them.
Yeah.
Again, a whole nother podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We get tired, but when we get tired, we take a rest, we take a break, we take a vacation, we leave them kids at home, we grab the husband. Sometimes we've had to leave the husband at home. I'm going to staycation one day, this way I'm at. Call me, but don't call me too much. I need a break. So guess what? You got to know what you got to do so you can stay in your space of peace, serenity, quality, because I want to remain a quality woman.
Right.
You ain't going to stress me out like that.
Yeah.
That's no way. So you got to make sure you're running your household. You let your husband lead, but you got to make sure that you got that household in a place where it's like you set the tone. We give birth and we also set the tone for our households.
Mm-hmm.
So Melvin, you got anything to say? Anything else to add to that?
I don't. The only thing I would say is to just go back to the point that the unrealistic expectations and the unfair expectations, I know for a fact is what contributes to the 70% divorce.
Mm.
And I definitely feel as a wife, as a mom, as a stepmom, when it comes to parenting, when it comes to caring for a child, I'm always child first.
Mm-hmm.
Always. And there has been times that I've had to make myself second to the child. And I feel like one thing my grandmother used to always say to me, because again, I'm not saying that this is easy. You're going to kick, you're going to scream, but at the end of the day, this is grown-up business.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be grown about the situation. And one thing my grandmother used to say is that God had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
The woman and man that lays down together, they get married, they have children. That was God's way. We came in and did things our way. But we want the promise of God to just be yes and amen. And it is, but at a point. And at this point, at a cost.
You're gonna pay.
You're going to pay. But it doesn't have to be like, it don't have to be bad. You know, like it don't have to be bad.
Yeah.
So,
We drag it out. We drag things out so long. You don't have to kick, just go willingly. When you step out of the will of God, you gonna pay. Oh, baby. It was written to be a certain way.
Yeah.
I decided, Quinn decided, Mel decided, oh, I'm gonna do it this way. And you don't be telling me, oh, I didn't know, I was too young, but you were old enough to make a decision and a choice.
Yeah.
And when we made them decisions and choices, no, when you move out of the will of God, you be ready for some smoke.
Yeah.
So we're gonna chalk all that up that we experienced. That was God's smoke. We had you got to be ready for the smoke when you make these decisions and you say, oh, I'm doing it all in the name of love, and you don't even know what love is half the time. I'm doing it. Okay, you're gonna pay a price. And so now that we've discovered marriage, we've discovered, oh wow, this comes a little easy. Oh wow, God moving big time over here. Oh wow, I could do that because it's a different level. And I'm not pushing nobody to marriage. I think that people should enjoy it, and I think that people should experience it. But what I'm saying is, there's another level of commitment. You take on a spouse, then God is responsible for both of you. God is responsible to make sure you're well taken care of, including your seeds. So if you have to go through some smoke right now, go through the smoke. You'll come out, you won't smell like it. But you got to make a decision and say, sometimes you even got to ask yourself, if this stuff even worth it? Because we be going through stuff for nothing. And you go through it and you're going to end up not even being. Ask yourself, is this stuff worth it? Right? Is it worth it? Because I don't believe that everything causes trouble. Everything doesn't. Somebody's been so accustomed to living in the space where it's a fight every time, it's a pull every time, I'm getting drugged every time, that's all you know. And so when something good happens, you can't really embrace the good that's happening. Like, some people might say, oh, this is fake. It's fake to you because you've never experienced it.
Right.
It's fake to you because you've never felt real love. It's fake to you because you can't get along with your wife. It's fake to you because you can't get along with that man's father. It's fake to you. But to us, this is real life.
Yeah.
And this has been real life for us for 27 plus years. So we qualify to speak about our topic. That's another thing. Because, people say, oh, what makes them think, you study something for so long, you become the expert of it.
Yeah.
You study something so long, you become very astute. You become the teacher of it. And so, these are topics that Melva said she was having, way before, maybe way before I even was having the conversation in depth with girl groups and women groups and different things like that. So she knows what she's talking about. She lived it. She's living in it. She has honors for it. Melva, this was a very good conversation.
It was. I enjoyed it.
I did too. I really hope that we were able to help. I hope that we were able to help. Are you working on something? What were you working on, Melva? What did you have that you want women to know about so they can be a part of?
Right now I'm doing Women Who Desire, which is a group geared towards women moving past the business scene. That's something that I feel like everywhere you look, there's a group for women who want to build a business. This is a place for women who just want to go have dinner by themselves. Women who just want to take their first trip solo. So it's a group based on womanhood. Who are you outside of your titles? So that's what we talk about. We just had in May, we met and we talked about you, the woman. Not the mom, not the wife, not the sister. You. Who are you? What do you like? Let's get back to that. Being a mental health advocate, I do a lot of conversations on my job because we work in the medical field. but we talk a lot about it. We talk a lot about mental health. And what I realized in our community, like you just said, as a wife, we take on so much. So many women, they lose themselves. When Marquette graduated college back in May, I told the kids and I told Quentin, I said, listen, I feel a new something coming on. Y'all better get on this train with me because I don't know.
Yeah.
And all I'm simply saying is for the last 20 plus years, I've stood in my titles. I'm just trying to be me at this point. I'm just trying to find the Melba that I lost along the way, and it happens so often. So I'm just building a group of women who just want to get back to that person, want to get back to the woman before the titles, the woman before the hurt, the woman before the trauma, the woman who, spent her last years in a cubicle at a job who just wants to break loose. Yeah. So, I mean, it's been fun. Still building it. I'm enjoying the process. I love it. I love women. I have a passion. I've always been on the women's ministry, on the marriage ministry. I've been the youth leader. So I enjoy the female. I enjoy women. I enjoy young girls. So that's where I am now. So building women who desire. The next thing we have, I saw that you're doing the event that you're doing.
Yes.
So definitely keep me posted because I like that idea.
Okay.
Yes.
Where can they find you for Women Who Desire if they want to join, if they want to donate, if they want to be a part? If they just want to reach out to you, in private to be able to say, girl, I'm struggling. I need some help. I'm trying to help me break out of this, help me break away from this. Where can they find you?
So on Instagram, it's Women Who Desire. And then on Instagram also, it's Melva Hall. First and last name on Instagram.
So I typed in the chat, Women Who Desire at Instagram. As a matter of fact, if you are watching and listening, go and follow her. Now, I've had the opportunity to watch Melva virtually, and I can see her love for women. I see her love for people, her passion for ministry, and that's what it's about. And see, many times we have had to find an outlet. There are different seasons of finding outlets. Many times we've had to find an outlet because we were bored and we wanted God to use us. Ooh, then you do that for years and you're saying, God, all right, I don't mean no harm. First start off, I don't mean no harm. God don't mean no harm, but I want to do something different. Having them conversations with God is okay too. Because I'm 45, be 46 December. You know where I want to stay? I want to stay in my femininity. And if I gotta work all the time and I gotta scream all the time and I gotta fuss all the time and I gotta do all this stuff all the time, I can't be in my femininity. I can't be sweet. I can't strut. I can't. What y'all want? I'm more out. And what I love is that I have children and a husband that I'm able to say, check this out, homeboy and homegirl. I look in them dogs' face and say, I'm gonna tell you something. You gonna end up being with somebody for a week. You better go ahead. And they turn the other way. I want you all to understand my language. And I want you to understand the language when I'm not speaking. I'm wore out. Give me a minute. If I'm out here on the patio, I didn't ask for no company. If I close the door, you might can come in. But if I lock it, you need to know what that means. You need to know what that means. If I'm walking through the house saying I'm getting ready to go, I need a staycation. You know what that means. No need them. No need them panicking. I want to stay in my femininity. Right. We want to stay in our femininity. I'm so glad that one of my children are, all of the ones we have are grown with the exception of Zuri. She wants to be, but she ain't. We got the raise her. Still got some time. I don't think she's gonna ever go nowhere, but we still got some time. But the thing is, I'm always going to be a mom. I'm always going to be a wife. I'm always going to be a daughter, but I have gotten tired. I have gotten tired with ministry. I go to church some Sundays and they'll say, "Oh, you, hey, how you been?" I be saying, "Don't get excited. I'm only in town for one night." And we all fall out laughing because guess what they know? Girlfriend is tired. We don't wore girlfriend out. But it's no secret. It's no, and women, we want to, I believe Melva has created a safe space for women to be able to say, listen, if you tired, you can say that you're tired.
Yeah.
I come from a grandmother and a generation of women that was afraid to say, I'm tired. They worked 2 and 3 jobs, but could not stop. Bills had to be paid.
Right.
I want the bills to get paid by a miracle. I don't want them to get I don't want to work for them to get
Do your big one, God. Do your big one.
Do your big one. I don't want to go get up and I want them to be paid as I lay on this silk pillow. Right? I don't want to do none of that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Because I believe that God will give you the desires of your heart while we're talking about desire. He will. We say a lot of things. And before you look up, you'll be a kept woman. And that's never even been a desire of mine until I got tired. We're just tired. So I wanted to share with you, many of you have saw this. I posted something the other day, and as we're closing, I just want to share with you all what I'm working on. I'm learning to do everything that is in my heart. I'm learning to slow down and write down the things that are in my heart. I've been such an asset to other people, and I've helped other people build, and I've watched things come out the ground for other people, and I've been consistent at that, but I was sliding myself. I wrote a post the other day, and I said, women, we don't struggle, we strut. I didn't realize what I was saying because I do have a way with words. I didn't realize what I was saying, and I posted it, and I set it down. And I went, and I was looking out the window, and God said, you got something there. And I start saying, I do. And I said, now I love to give women they propers. One of my customers, she would buy everything I was selling. Her name is Toya. Toya would post under and she had been doing it for years. I would post a picture. She will post the peacock emoji. I just thought the peacock emoji was so cute. So everybody knows I'm very decorated and very colorful, but I've always liked the peacock. She didn't know because we didn't have this conversation before, but she was just posting peacock. But that was always her way of saying, oh, you stepped out today, you shredded today. Mind you, she's just somebody who buys all my stuff. She's not, she's a sister. She's not somebody I see every day, talk to her every day. So it came full circle. And God said, you got something there, strut. And I just picked up my phone. You know, that notepad hold a lot of stuff. I picked up my phone and I started writing in my notepad and I said, strut. And I played with the words and I was trying to figure out what made sense. And I said, but it's supposed to be something big. And so strut stands for self-love, for the S, T, transparency, R, resilience, U, unapologetic, and T, taking risk. We don't struggle, we strut. We get so caught up in the struggle of everything that we forget how to just walk and just be. If you ever take the opportunity to look at, go to YouTube and just look at peacocks. Go to Instagram and look at peacocks. They stand, they don't walk fast, they don't rush, they don't run.
Nope.
They stand, they open up their wings, and it's like, you gonna see me
right in front of you.
You're gonna see me today. And once and I'm gonna give you something to talk about when you see me. I love when women step into this is who I am, and who I am is not taken away from you.
Right.
I'm her. You're her. First of all, women who build other women, you're definitely her. Girls, you're definitely her. No mean girl stuff around here, baby. Right. You can't sit with me. You can sit with me because I guarantee you sit at this table, you're going to leave with something good. So strut is going to be, I called it the Strut Fest. I have a location. I have a date. I'll share the flyer, but the date is September 28th, I believe. We're looking for some local influencers. We're looking for local vendors. I pretty much handpicked the vendors, and I'll tell you why. Because I work so hard in what I do, support is really big for me. Women that haven't supported me can't just come in, and they've seen what I've done. You can't just come in and say you want to get on a bandwagon of an opportunity when you hadn't supported. This is about girls, because girls support women, and support don't just mean money. Support is in prayer, support is in money, support is in showing up. Support is a variety of ways to support. So we're going to put this together. I was so excited about it. I started writing and I started doing my logo. I'm excited about that because God said I didn't want to do a whole bunch of other things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's showing me what this is going to look like. A room full of women wearing jewel tones, the royal blues, the emerald greens, the purples, feather. He showed me what that's going to look like because I want to be a safe space for women. I want to have and hold safe space for women because we don't have that everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have that. And so if you are, again, watching, follow Women Who Desire, follow Melva, stay in touch with us, stay in touch with what we're doing. If you're doing something you want us to be a part of, definitely tap us on the shoulder, send us a message, because if we don't support each other, then who will?
Right.
I said that today when we were going live, I shouldn't have to remind you when I'm going live. If you follow me on YouTube, then you should get a notification. The Real Housewives of Atlanta do not come and tell y'all, oh, we're going live. You already know their schedule. You got to support your sisters. You got to support your friends. The same way we've helped other people go up, help your girl go up.
Mm-hmm.
She will mention you. If you send her up, she will make sure that you get your props. She will make sure you get your flowers, but we got to do a better job at supporting each other. Again, stay in touch with us. Melva, go tend to that baby of yours. I'm talking about that dog.
And our big baby.
Yes, and the big baby, because I don't know. I knew if he ain't jumping in my comments telling me what to do, he done jump behind you to get in. Because Mr. Quinn gonna get his moment. If you don't give it to him, and I think he might have got that from me. He gonna if you don't give him a moment, he gonna take it. But Melva, thank you so much. You know, till Quinn, I said thank you for allowing you to sit with us and give us your time. And let's do this again. Let's figure out what the next topic is going to be. I would love to come back and talk to the women. You know, have a panel of women to be able to say how this even helped them. Maybe we can bring in a male the next time. Maybe we can bring in some of the kids the next time, because kids can be affected as well by a lot of these things. But again, thank you so much. I know you.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed
garage. What you call it?
Garage living.
Garage living. Garage living. I made some pasta salad, so I'm gonna go eat me some pasta salad and finish watching R&B Money podcast, because I watch a lot of podcasts. But again, thank you so much for your time.
You.
Enjoy your evening. And girl, you know I'm a text phone call away. Always.
Yes.
All right. Have a good evening. Okay.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all so much for joining us on tonight. I hope that this dialogue was helpful for you. I hope that you will go back and watch it. I also hope that you would share this with someone. You know, I do this out of love. I laugh about a lot of things, but I want you all to know that I love you, and I want you to be your best self. I want your children to see you at your best self. I want your children to be who God has called them to be. But in order for that to happen, it takes a village. It takes a village to raise children, but it also takes a village to raise an adult. Check who you have around you, because who around you says a lot about you. You all have a good evening. Continue to enjoy your holiday for those of you who celebrating, and I will see you soon.